The 7 wonders of the world are the 7 extraordinary structures made in the earliest days. These structures were believed to be man's best skill in ancient times. In recent line times, humankind has evolved, creating a need to identify new wonders. Consequently, the new 7 Wonders Foundation launched a drive to list new wonders. 100 million people worldwide voted, and in 2007, new 7 Wonders of the world were announced. Christ the Redeemer statue was named a Wonder of the World alongside the Taj Mahal, the Colosseum, Machu Picchu, Chichén Itzá, Petra, and the Great Wall of China. In 2021, Christ the Redeemer statue and Rio de Janeiro were named Protected World Heritage Site by United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. This is a global organization based in France that was established in 1945 to promote culture, peace and security by enhancing international collaboration. Christ the Redeemer gazes from its perch on Mount Corcovado over the city of Rio de Janeiro in the South America country of Brazil. Art Deco was a popular movement in the 1920s. The statue was made of concrete and covered in soapstone tiles once the statue was completed. It was 30 meters in height. Outstretched arms. It has a width of 28 meters. French Paul Landowski designed the statue, and Brazilian Hector da Silva Costa was the engineer.
Great Wall of China. Extensive bulwark erected in ancient China. One of the largest building construction projects ever undertaken. The Great Wall actually consists of numerous walls, many of them parallel to each other, built over some 2 millennia across northern China and southern Mongolia. The most extensive and best preserved version of the wall dates from the Ming Dynasty and runs for some 5,500 miles east to west from Mount Hu near Dandong, southeastern Liaoning Province, to Jiayu Pass west of Jiuquan, northwestern Gansu Province. This wall often traces the crest lines of hills and mountains as it snakes across the Chinese countryside, and about 1/4 of its length consists solely of natural barriers such as rivers and mountain ridges. Nearly all of the rest, about 70% of the total length, is actual constructed wall, with the small remaining stretches constituting ditches or moats. Although lengthy sections of the wall are now in ruins or have disappeared completely, it is still one of the more remarkable structures on Earth. The Great Wall was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1987. Large parts of the fortification system date from the 7th through the 4th century BCE. In the 3rd century BCE, Shi Huang Dingli Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of a united China under the Qin dynasty, connected a number of existing defensive walls into a single system. Traditionally, the eastern terminus of the wall was considered to be Shanhai Pass. Shanhaiguan in eastern Hebei province along the coast of the Biochea Gulf of Chile, and the wall's length without its branches and other secondary sections was thought to extend for some 4,160 miles. However, government-sponsored investigations that began in the 1990s revealed sections of wall in Liaoning, and aerial and satellite surveillance eventually proved that this wall stretched continuously through much of the province. The greater total length of the Ming Wall was announced in 2009. The Great Wall developed from the disparate border fortifications and castles of individual Chinese kingdoms. For several centuries, these kingdoms probably were as concerned with protection from their near neighbors as they were with the threat of barbarian invasions or raids. Remains, however, have never been found. Taj Mahal, mausoleum complex in Agra, western Uttar Pradesh state, northern India. The Taj Mahal was built by the Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan and reigned 1628-58 to immortalize his wife Mumtaz Mahal, who was in one of the palace, who died in childbirth in 1631, having been the emperor's inseparable companion since their marriage in 1612, India's most famous and widely recognized building. It is situated in the eastern part of the city on the southern right bank of the Yamuna River. Agra Fort Red Fort, also on the right bank of the Yamuna, is about 1 mile 16 kilometers west of the Taj Mahal. The plans for the complex have been attributed to various architects of the period, though the chief architect was probably Ustad Ahmad Lahore, an Indian of Persian descent. The 5 principal elements of the complex main gateway: Haji, mosque, Jorbi literally answer, a building mirroring the mosque and mausoleum, including its 4 minarets, were conceived and designed as a unified entity according to the tenets of Mughal building practice, which allowed no subsequent addition or alteration. Building commenced about 1632. More than 20,000 workers were employed from India, Persia, the Ottoman Empire, and Europe to complete the mausoleum itself by about 1638-39. The adjunct buildings were finished by 1643, and decoration work continued until at least 1647. In total, construction of the 42-acre 17-hectare complex spanned 22 years. A tradition relates that Shah Jahan originally intended to build another mausoleum across the river to house his own remains. That structure was to have been constructed of black marble, and it was to have been connected by a bridge to Taj Mahal. He was deposed in 1658 by his son Aurangzeb, however, and was imprisoned for the rest of his life in Opera Fort. Statue of Zeus at Olympia, Greece, one of the 7 wonders of the world. The statue was one of 2 masterpieces by the Greek sculptor Phidias, the other being the statue of Athena in the Parthenon, and was placed in the huge temple of Zeus at Olympia in western Greece. The statue, almost 12 meters 40 feet high and plated with gold and ivory, represented the god sitting on an elaborate cedarwood throne ornamented with ebony, ivory, gold, and precious stones. On his outstretched right hand was a statue of Nike Victory, and in the god's left hand was a scepter on which an eagle was perched. The statue, which took 8 years to construct, was noted for the divine majesty and goodness it expressed. The discovery in the 1950s of the remains of Phidias' workshop at Olympia confirmed the statue's date of about 430 BCE. The temple was destroyed in 426 CE, and the statue, of which no accurate copies survive, may have been destroyed then, or in a fire at Constantinople, now Istanbul, about 50 years later. According to Roman historian Suetonius, the Roman Emperor Caligula gave orders that such statues of the gods as were especially famous for their sanctity or their artistic merit, including that of Jupiter at Olympia, should be brought from Greece, in order to remove their heads and put his own in their place. 15. The emperor was assassinated before this could happen, in 41 AD. His death was supposedly foretold by the statue, which suddenly uttered SUC. A peal of laughter that the scaffolding collapsed and the workmen took to their heels. 16. In 391 AD, the Christian Roman Emperor Theodosius banned participation in pagan cults and closed the temples. The sanctuary at Olympia fell into disuse. The circumstances of the statue's eventual destruction are unknown. The 11th century Byzantine historian Georgios Kidranos records a tradition that it was carried off to Constantinople, where it was destroyed in the Great Fire of the Palace of Lausus in 475 AD. Lighthouse of Alexandria, one of the 7 wonders of the world and the most famous lighthouse in antiquity.
Among the
It was a
many cities
technological
founded
triumph
by
and is the
Alexander the
archetype
Great,
of all
which
lighthouses
bear his
since.
name,
Built by
the Egyptian
Sostratus of
city
Cnidus,
of Alexandria
perhaps for
is
Ptolemy
certainly
Isota.
the most well
It was
known.
finished during the reign of Sophus,
Located
son
at the
Ptolemy II
mouth
of
of the
Egypt
Nile
in
River,
about 280
the city
BCE.
grew
The
and
lighthouse
flourished,
stood
turning
on the
itself
island of
into
Pharos
one
in
of
the
the most
harbour of
prosperous
Alexandria, and is
Mediterranean
said to have been
cities.
more than 350
Its port
feet,
became
100
one
meters
of the
high.
key trade
the only
hubs
taller
of the
man-made
ancient
structures
world.
at the time would have been the pyramids
After
of
Alexander's
Giza.
death,
Much of what is
the
known about
Macedonian
structure of the
dominions were
lighthouse comes
disputed
from a
by his senior
1909 work
officers.
by Hermann
The
Fish,
Macedonian
Pharos,
general
and
Ptolemy
Islam
established
knew in
himself
Oxford.
as the ruler
According
of
to the
Egypt,
ancient
and the
sources
Ptolemaic
consulted by Fish,
dynasty
the
started.
lighthouse was built in 3
As
stages,
an Egyptian
all
pharaoh,
sloping slightly.
Ptolemy
Inward,
ordered the
the lowest
construction
was square,
of a
the
massive
next octagonal,
lighthouse on the
and the top
small island
cylindrical.
of
A broad
Pharos.
spiral ramp led
This
to the top,
colossal
where a
structure
fire burned
would be
at night.
known as the Lighthouse of
was surmounted by a
Alexandria,
huge statue,
one of the 7
possibly
wonders of
representing
the
either
ancient
Alexander
world.
the Great or Ptolemy
The building
Isota
had a
in
tower
the form
height
of the
of
sun.
about 130
Helios,
meters,
though it was
something
well known
remarkable
earlier.
for
The
that time.
lighthouse does not appear
The
in any
Lighthouse
list
of
wonders
Alexandria
until the 6th
was one of the
century.
tallest
See
structures
the earliest
in
list
the
was
ancient
walls
world.
of Babylon instead.
The construction
in the Middle
took
Ages,
12
Sultan
years
armed
to
Ibn
be
Tulal
completed.
placed the beacon with a
Made
small
with
mast.
blocks
The
of
lighthouse was
white
still
granite
standing in
and
the
marble.
12th century.
It marveled the
but by
sailors from distant lands who
1477,
docked at the port.
The Mameluke Sultan
There was a
Hugh Ibn
pyre
Wahid
at the top
was able
that
to
burned
build a fort on its
uninterruptedly.
ruins. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon were one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world listed by Hellenic culture. They were described as a remarkable feat of engineering with an ascending series of tiered gardens containing a wide variety of trees, shrubs, and vines, resembling a large green mountain constructed of mud bricks. It was said to have been built in the ancient city of Babylon, near present-day Hilla, Babel province in Iraq. The Hanging Gardens name is, which has a broader meaning than the modern English word hanging, and refers to trees being planted on a raised structure such as a terrace. 1 to 3. According to one legend, the Hanging Gardens were built alongside a grand palace known as the Marvel of Mankind by the Neo-Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar II, who ruled between 605 and 562 BC, for his Median wife, Queen Amytis, because she missed the green hills and valleys of her homeland. This was attested to by the Babylonian priest Berossus, writing in about 290 BC, a description that was later quoted by Josephus. The construction of the Hanging Gardens has also been attributed to the Hanging Gardens has also been attributed to the legendary Queen Semiramis IV, and they have been called the Hanging Gardens of Semiramis as an alternative name. 5. The Hanging Gardens are the only one of the 7 wonders for which the location has not been definitively established. 6. There are no extant Babylonian texts that mention the gardens, and no definitive archaeological evidence has been found in Babylon. 7. 3 theories have been suggested to account for this. First, that they were purely mythical, and the descriptions found in ancient Greek and Roman writings, including those of Strabo, Diodorus Siculus and Quintus Curtius Rufus, represented a romantic ideal of an Eastern garden. 9.